Hello, welcome to Kristi's Kropping and Creating. I am Kristibolin. I am from South Carolina and I am a Creative Memories Advisor. I've been a Creative Memories Advisor for 27 years. I'm just going to jump right in. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my desktop. If you have any questions as the video progresses, I'll give you my email address that you can email me and ask me questions. Of course, you can always ask questions by commenting here on this video as well. And I do thank you for joining. And please do subscribe, because once I hit 500 subscribers, I will do another drawing for some prizes. So let me switch over to my desktop. I want to use the new collection called Nordic Winter. Yes, Nordic Winter. I just received it this afternoon. I was kind of late placing my order last week, so I did not get it until this afternoon. And I am going to be using these green colored papers, tones, and this Autumn Hay Shimmer. The backs of these papers look like this kind of beigey color that does have a design on it. This brown stripe, this green that has gold deers, pine boughs, boughs, I don't know how you say that. Oh, what do you call those things? Like snowshoes, some wreaths, just whatever. That's what's on the back of this paper. And again, I'm going to use Autumn Hay Shimmer, and I'm going to do a really quick design from our 101 Scrapbooking Ideas and Sketches plus 3 Fast Formulas book. I'm going to be doing this idea on page 67. I like how versatile this is, and it would hold at least 5 photos, maybe even 6, depending on if you wanted to put a photo here. So I want to do this, and again, I'm just going to kind of jump right in. I always need to find a place to put some stuff. So this piece that is a little bit rather busy is going to be my background. And you don't have to do what I'm about to do, but because most of this is going to be covered, I want to hollow it out. So I'm going to cut out the back. I'm going to do this at 1.5 inches. So my border will be 1.5 inches all the way around. And I have to do some calculating in my head to think about where to place my clips. I'm placing those clips so that when I am cutting, it will stop and start automatically where I want it to. So that's why I'm checking that. So I'm placing it, the top one at the 1/2 inch and the bottom one at the 11.5 inch. And then I will place my paper on the 1.5 inch mark over here on the right. And I'm just going to hollow this out really fast, and then we will move on to the next step. So if you don't want to do this step, that is perfectly fine. You can just use a decorative piece of paper that is 12 by 12. Again, I wanted to do this since my other paper is going to be covering it, and that way I can have the back of this piece of paper to use in a different project. If you've watched any of my videos, you know that I'm bad about saving scraps, and you can see up on my desk I've got little pieces of scraps. So this I can use elsewhere. As a matter of fact, I could even use it for some photo mats. So I'll have to think about that as the time goes. All right, my next piece, I am going to be using this pine branch piece, and it is going to go on top of this, and it's going to cover like all the way around, but it only needs to be an 11 by 11 inch square. So I need to take off my clips, and I'm going to put my paper On the right, it's at the 1, and on the left, it's at the 11. I'm going to cut an inch off of this side. I'm going to turn it one time, clockwise or counterclockwise. It doesn't matter as long as you don't do both. And again, on the left, it's at the 11. On the right, it's at the 1. I'll cut off that strip, save that for a different project. And then this is what it's going to start to look like. Okay. For this piece is going to be my next piece. And this piece needs to be 6.5 inches by 12 inches. So while my arm is out on my trimmer, I'll come over to the 6.5. If my arm were not out, I could go to the, what would that be, 5.5 and cut down. And then the piece over here would be 6.5 inches. But since the arm was out, it doesn't really matter. And this is what I meant. This leftover is 5.5. So if the arm was down, I measured a 5.5. This would still be my scrap piece, but the piece left over would have been the right size. So this is going to come down through here about like that. And before we start assembling, since I've got my trimmer out, I'm going to go ahead and cut some mats. I need 2 6 inches by 4 inch mats. So I'm going to cut at, let me think for 1 second, because I think I had decided earlier I want to double mat. So I'm going to cut this at 4 1/4. No, I can't do that. Okay, never mind. I'm going to cut it at 4 inches. I'll just make my picture smaller if I do end up deciding to double mat. I'm going to turn that 4 inch piece to the side and cut it at 6. Cut it in half at 6. And then I need another set of mats from the same piece of paper or from the previous piece of paper. And I'm going to make these mats 3 1/4 inch squares. So I'll cut at 3 1/4. Turn this sideways and make me 3 3 1/4 inch squares. There's 1, 2, 3. And remember I told you earlier, if I wanted to, I could cut that piece that I hollowed out. I could have cut some mats from it. Technically, I could have cut some mats from this tonal green as well. I just couldn't have used this side for the photo mats because it's going to be on top of that green paper, but I could have used that back side for it. I think either one of those could have worked as being a photo mat. I mainly didn't want to use this one because I don't want it to have to be a Christmassy or a wintry layout that is that wintry. I know that these pine branches make you think of winter or Christmas, but I think everything else is just kind of a generic tonal green color. So here's my pieces, and we're going to start adhering. And I'm going to put everything that way. Okay, so I'm going to put my adhesive around the edge of my 11-inch piece that then I am going to layer onto my background that I hollowed out. And again, that was just to save paper. It saves a little bit of weight in your scrapbooks, and it helps eliminate some of the waste, but it's not 100% necessary. So if I use my 13-inch mat here, I can line my paper, my background paper, up inside that mat. That's the square that is on your trimmer. And then I can take my piece and pretty easily, of course I moved it, I can pretty easily line this up. It will be at the 1/2 inch mark at the top and the sides, since it's an 11-inch square and this is a 12 by 12 background piece. So that's how that needs to go. And then my 6-inch by 12-inch piece, you're supposed to have some of this background showing over here, but of course, since it is 12 by 12, it will go the full length of your page. I think that this would be really, really easy to turn it into a double page spread. As a matter of fact, now that I've already started this video, I wish I would have thought of that sooner, because I could have shown you how I would turn it into a double page spread, basically, but just by mirroring from one side to the next. I'm going to have this at the 11-inch mark, so about 1/2 inch of this pine branch paper is showing. So this far side will go at the 1 inch at the top, 11 inches at the bottom, and it's going to come across to the 7.5 at the top and the 5.5 down at the bottom. And I'm saying those numbers like that because, of course, across the top, it's got one set of measurements. Across the bottom, it's got it going the opposite way. Like here's the one on the bottom left, and here's the one on the top right. So that's what I mean by that. All right, so here's my base. And I did pull out a few photo mats before this started, because something is going to go here in the center that's going to be like a decorative element. And just guessing ahead of time, I was thinking that I'm probably going to like this. This decorative element technically would be a little bit smaller than a 4x6 photo mat, because your 4x6 is supposed to kind of line up in there like this and this. So I'm going to be overlapping onto this variety mat if I choose to use it, which that's okay, because it still shows this pretty shape right here, and I could still use this as a journaling box. I could put an oval photo there and then still have these little edges showing right here, but yeah, that's definitely not the side I want to use. So basically, also, this is a 6.5 by 4.5 inch mat. So my 4x6 photo would perfectly go on top of that. So that is yet another option. But again, my other two photo mats are 4x6s, so they're going to overlap onto that 6.5 by 4.5 if I choose to have a photo on there. But in the sketch, it shows a decorative element. See how they've got that lighter pink paper is just the background paper, which in my case is the tonal green. And then they've got this embellishment that they used on there. They used an embellishment cluster. And of course I could do that too. So I'm leaving mine to be journaling or a shaped photo instead of a decorative element. In my opinion, the words serve as a decorative element anyway. Okay, and then our other, let's see, I think I'm gonna like that one. I did also pull these out in case I wanted it to be something else. See, but this one I could cut in half, and that would kind of go neat on there. But I think I'm just going to use that one because I do like how this has the berries and the branches, and this is the pine branches. So I'm just going to stick with that. And here are my other photo mats, and they show it on this sample in the sketchbook as they're kind of going back and forth instead of just being straight up and down. I'll show you both ways really quick. So here would be like straight up and down, and I'm probably not perfectly positioning them, but that is one way you could do it. And then since they show them on the sketch kind of at an angle, it does give it a little bit more interest. And maybe you could say that it gives it a little bit of movement, and I like that too. So I am going to put mine together this way, and I'm just sitting here looking at the computer screen. I'm not sure if I bumped this or what, but it looks like it's a little bit crooked, and I know I've got shadows when I put my arms up and stuff too, but this is how I'm going to adhere things. So normally I would adhere my top and bottom pieces first, and then I would center this this one. Actually, I'm still going to do that. Since that one has a design on it and it's bigger, I really feel like it needs to go down last. But I'm just going to take my chances here and put these on first and then center that bigger piece over it instead of under it. And I'll do the same over with the small 3 1/4 inch squares. I couldn't remember what size they were. That's why I hesitated to say. I couldn't remember if it's 3 1/2 or 3 1/4. Leave the same amount of border around the top one as you did the bottom one. And then you're just going to center this over it or under it, depending on which direction you went first. So it does kind of eat up some of the space on your photo mat, but I think it'll work okay anyway. So I'm going to put these two down first, and with them being kind of catty cornered or on an angle tilted, it won't be quite as important to do the top and the bottom one before you do the middle one, since you're not exactly squeezing one into space. But you'll still get the idea of what I'm doing here. And it's funny, I keep turning over this cardstock to the back, even though there's not really a back to the cardstock. Oh, I don't know why I do that, but I've talked about it in other videos, and me and some other scrapbooking friends talk about how it's such a habit to turn things over that even when you've got a solid piece of cardstock, you just want to turn it over and put the adhesive on the back. So this is the finished for now layout. I could do an embellishment cluster up here once I get my photo on, and I could do something down here, and then of course you've also got this little area, so there would be 3 areas of decoration, and then you've got space for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, possibly 6 photos. And if you do a photo here instead of journaling, this is just my opinion, but I do think it's very important to get your words, whether it's just the name, the date, the event, some sort of labeling onto the page to make it complete. So this is the end for now. By the way, let me show you the back. See how you saved all of that paper? I just think that's neat when you can do that. If you have any questions, you can email me at kristibolin@gmail.com. Kristibolin is spelled Kristibolin. If you don't have a Creative Memories advisor that you're shopping with, I would be more than happy to help you. You can shop from my website at creativememories.com/user/KRISTIBOLIN. And if you want to join my subscription group, I teach a class weekly on Wednesday evenings. It is recorded, so if you can't be on live, you can watch it at your convenience. Ask me about this group if you email me. It is called Kristi's Croppers Subscription Group. And I would love to have you. And I hope that you will be able to watch again next week when I'm doing another video. I have a pretty cool technique that I'm hoping to be able to share with you by next week. It's just a little design I saw in a wallpaper, and I'm hoping to put the finishing touches on figuring out how to make it so that it doesn't take up the whole page, because of course the pictures are the most important things, the pictures and the words. Anyway, y'all have a great rest of your week, and I hope to see you again soon. Thanks.